What's up guys, welcome back to another video. Hope you're all doing well today. Today we are going to be playing a new not replica track of the for legal reasons not Georgia practice facility. We are at the practice facility today, created by Mr. Ruubs, aka a fellow old man MX bikes player such as myself. He does not release tracks on a very regular basis, however when he does they are always pretty much 10 out of 10. One of my favourite tracks to just hop in and play from time to time is his track called The Sandbox, which is a Floridian based track. And the reason is he just kind of does some sort of magic with the soil where it erodes really nicely compared to other tracks that I play. So I'm hoping for more of the same today. This track boasts 3 tracks, three and a half in total. There is a very tiny enduro trail loop, but it is just single track, no logs or rocks or anything, and that just exists if you want to give it a go. There is also a pro supercross track. There is a pro-am supercross track, so a little nice introduction to some of the newer people in the game. And then there's also the main MX track. Now, this track does give sandy vibes, however, the soil type is just normal soft soil, so plenty of grip to be found. However, quite a tricky track as well, as you'll soon see throughout this video. So I hope you enjoy. I hope I can do my best to show it off to you and entice you into it as much as it entices me. And let's get into the video. Okay, so we're doing something a little bit different today. I am not riding a meta bike that everyone rides all the time. Also, please go and watch yesterday's video because a lot of people are saying they are very much enjoying the new 250 meta by the looks of it, and I apologise if it was something that people wanted to keep a secret, but I get moaned at when I gatekeep, and I seem to also get moaned at when I don't, so I really can't win. But we're riding a Gas 450 today. So as I hopefully said in the intro, right here in front of us off of spawn we have a single track kind of enduro loop, and I am not going to be doing that today. As much as I like enduro, I know Ruubs is a little bit of an enduro slut himself. He loves it also, so nice to see him stick that in there. But I know the main attraction today is probably going to be the Supercross track, which is right here, and then also the MX track, which is over on my left-hand side. But we also do have, if I move us over, no, actually, was this the... This is either the Pro SX or the Pro-Am SX, because also through the trees this direction as well we also have another supercross track, but I'll spin a couple laps on both and see if I can work out off the top of my head. It is worth mentioning that all 3 of these tracks do have their own timing gates, so when you go into testing to select what track you want to play in the first place, then you'll have 3 different options there, so you can time your lap times on each and every one. I think I'm going to start on the motocross track. That just seems to make the most sense to me. So which way are we going in the first place? I believe it's this direction. Also, you would have seen there's a lot of animation going on this track, stuff that I don't usually see, like actual animated people as well. Like we've got this dude chilling right here, and Ruubs has done this before. They do talk every now and then. I swear I heard him say something right there. Talk to me, Black Cat man.
You ready to twist that throttle? This ain't no Sunday cruise. Show me you've got what it takes.
Nice use of AI there. We love to hear it. So there are people dotted around. One of Ruubs' previous tracks that he released before had these people dotted around, and they would give you kind of like quest lines. So bringing a bit more life to these tracks and making it feel a little bit more real, because I know that's something that track creators have to try and overcome when building tracks in this game. There is certain limitations, and one thing that I'm shocked to see, which I'll show you as it comes up in a second, but when I've seen people using animations in the past, they tend to be quite jittery, like super low FPS, and I don't know if that's because of the game or if that's to try and optimize it as much as possible, but look how smooth this floating tape is. Like that, I know it doesn't mean much to a lot of people, but I love stuff like this, just little details. Things like some of the yellow stakes being knocked down on the ground, it gives the track an actual ridden on feel and makes it not feel like you are just by yourself in this basically void in the game. I also like how you just can't see the edges of the track anywhere. You know, you can't see the bounds, the out of area. It just kind of goes on forever. So again, it just feels a lot more immersive. So we're gonna give this a little go, and hopefully I can do it some justice. I am running a Supercross setup on this gas machine. So we'll be good for 2 out of the 3 tracks, I believe, but also overjumping stuff like that, this suspension should handle it absolutely fine. The reason I've chosen the Supercross one is not... It wasn't like an active choice, it's just the only setup I have on this bike for the time being. So we're going to give it a go. I do think they did do the old Red Girl a little bit dirty when the most recent OEM bikes came out, taking the old quick shift away from it. I was a little bit heartbroken because in last year's GPs, absolutely loved it. Absolutely loved the gas. I thought it was incredible. Was it last year's GPs or was it the one before? It might have even been the 2023 GPs. God, we're going back a long way now. I do realise I've been playing this game for quite a lot of time at this point. We're getting closer and closer to that 5,000 hour mark where it's sat at about 4.5k-ish, going up close to 4.6, I believe. So they're definitely getting on just a little bit. I realised I didn't even say in the intro that this track, it is going to be on the shop, and Ruubs has... So I'm recording this Wednesday night, basically ready for Thursday morning my time, and Ruubs has said that he is aiming to have it out on Thursday for you guys to enjoy. A lot of time when it comes to shop tracks, a lot of it... That was my Discord, not yours, I do apologise. A lot of it relies on what other tracks are coming out around the same time as well. There is almost like a queue as such. I think they limit how many get released on the same day. So there is every chance, if you don't see this on the Thursday, then there's a very high likelihood that it should be out on the Friday instead. So I know when I done the video on Suki X Reaper Docs at the playground, it took an extra day or so for that to come out, and I saw a few unhappy people in the comments, so I do apologise for that. But there is the little warning. I thought I should mention it before I give you an exact date, and then it turns out that that was false. And again, in advance, I apologise if I edge you a little bit with the gameplay that you see here, and it turns out not to be that way. And I will say, I'm kind of like trying to compare this to Ruubs' other stuff as I'm riding around, and mostly that sandbox track that I mentioned in the intro. This definitely seems more difficult from a roughness perspective. Definitely a little bit more challenging than the other one. His previous one on sandbox was... the track was almost flat, but I think there was a lot of emphasis on the erode system then. I think it's a bit harder to do now. The erode is a little bit boof these days, I'll be honest. But I haven't even got the erode on right now in this testing session, so I can't go into it too much. But right now, it doesn't really need it. The track does seem to flow if you can get the right rhythms down, and 450 make my life a lot easier around here. I'll be honest, I'm getting a little bit wonky on the sticks. I have spent the last 4 days or so riding 250s in the MXB rank side of things, and it's kind of made me realise just how poorly the 450s handle, just in terms of how they handle in the game, not necessarily so much the each individual bikes, but I can hop on a 250 now, and whilst I'm still maybe like 2 seconds or so off the really, really fast 250 guys, the bike just does what you want it to do. It goes where you turn it, and the suspension works better, it sticks in the corners nicer, it's got a lot more grip. And then you hop from a 250 to a 450, and it's like, why does this feel like so wonky? What's wrong here? What's going on? And thankful that I didn't jump into the water there for a 3rd lap in a row. And you can already see the flow is starting to happen. We are flowing, we're vibing, we're doubling our way into corners. You could probably send that and downside this inside here if you were feeling particularly Jet Lawrence-like. And this is getting a little bit better the more and more I ride it as well. Go around here, got to stretch this one out just a little bit. I'm curious to see how the 250s would handle track like this. Let me go outside here, see if I can get a better run up for this uphill triple afterwards. Yeah, downside then braking bump, stretch that out, tap the back brake in the air. Lovely stuff. That was much, much nicer. I also wanted to use this time to do a little bit of self-promo for those of you that might not be in my Discord server, or if you're like me and you are in Discord servers but you've just muted notifications because you get far too many. Completely understandable. But on this upcoming Saturday, which I believe is the 28th of June, I believe it's the 28th. Either way, whatever day Saturday is for you, which should be the same day for all of us, but whenever Saturday is, I am planning on doing a donate-a-thon again. It has been long enough. It is about time that we get back on it again. My plan is to start it midday my time on Saturday, and I am in the GMT time zone, so if you want to convert it, then feel free to do so. And my plan is to, if we make it far enough on Saturday, we'll do a little IRL Southwick watch party together. I will not have the stream on my stream, but we will still watch it together and we can kind of enjoy it amongst friends, amongst each other. And then after that, I'll probably do it how we've done it in the past, where I've done it in 12-hour shifts or so, just so I don't become a husk of a human, because we did do it in the past where I was awake for like 30-something hours, and yeah, it doesn't make you a very enjoyable human to be around for the days coming after that when you're trying to get your sleep pattern back. And I also feel sorry for Linda in having zero contact with me. So I think we'll try the whole 12-hour shift route again. That seems to work pretty well. And also trying to think of some milestones. Not doing anything outrageous, like someone suggested shave an eyebrow and stuff like that. We'll keep it fairly chill. I have reached out to the Jan. He hasn't got back to me just yet. Don't know if he's egoing me because I have negative aura. But I've asked if he would be interested for one of the milestones to hop in a call with me. And we just play some bikes or PGA, something like that. I'm sure a few of the people watching would like to see that, as we have not collabed on anything in the past. And yeah, just give me some other ideas, even in the comments here or in my Discord. Go to the video suggestions channel and drop some thoughts in there. I'm always interested to see what ideas you guys have in mind.
Weather's perfect. The only thing left is you, kid. Let's see some fire out there.
I'm really liking the words of affirmation before we go out on these tracks. Some very, very supportive friends that we've got dotted around in the facility right here. So I have gone back to the main menu and I've respawned in. This is the Pro Supercross track. So the other one is the Pro-Am. So I'll focus most of the time around here, and then we'll just do a couple laps on the other one and see how that goes. Try and learn the layout a little bit as well, and then see if we can put some hot laps down. Already noticing there is nowhere that is perfectly smooth. I don't know how well you can see that, but it's like even in the berms there's a little bit of, not chop per se, but a bit of unevenness to unsettle the bike slightly. And also the berms aren't built anywhere near as high as, say, an aerial track, for example. However, knowing Ruubs, knowing what kind of person/player he is like, he is much more inclined to go the route of one-to-one/realism scaling. And a lot of the time, really what it takes to stop people hitting stupid, unrealistic lines in this game is to shallow off some of these berms. If I want to try and quad or out of here, I've got to hit it pretty damn good and then seat bounce the life out of it. I've got the Rodon for this. I didn't have it on the MX track, but we'll try it around here just a little bit and see how she goes. Finish line doubles on the small side. Triple out here. Quad again. Stretch that. Oh, that's a little bit close. I do think the gas is a little bit slower than like a Yamaha per se, so there definitely will be easier bikes to do these lines on. But riding the TM250 recently, it's just got me interested to see what other bikes are out there. One thing that I'm noticing with this unevenness over these jumps, it's very important where you take off. If you're a bike whipped over to the left or to the right of where you need to be, it makes it so much harder to get up and over these rhythms cleanly. Can we just try let's go on off here and then triple, yeah, triple all the way out, that's nice. And then this is just the finish line again. As you can see, because there's little bits of like, almost like noise on the ground on these flat corners, it stops you from just easily getting the bike cranked over and hitting it wide open. Or again, that right hand side a little bit lower on the takeoff. I need to move further over to the left if I think I want to get all of that quad nice and easy. Step down here. Can you triple into this if I go around the outside? That's a hell of a stretch. Triple again. Yes, there you go. Triple, double. That was nice. Don't know if it's the fastest line, but it felt really, really satisfying to hit. That's something else as well when it comes to tracks like these. When there is an unevenness to it, I think it just makes it a little bit more rewarding for hitting your marks right. Because not only have you got to worry about your corner speed and your smoothness over the rough stuff, you've then got to make sure you hit your jumps in the right place also. It's just another level of difficulty added on. And I'm interested to see if the Pro-Am track has this same sort of roughness as the Pro track as well, or if he's toned it down a little bit to make life a little bit easier for people. When I was recording those little intro clips that you saw behind me when I was introducing the track at the beginning, I only just saw the Enduro loop at the last second as I was flying around in the free cam. So it does make me wonder if there's any other hidden sort of secrets all over this facility. But that is the joy of me getting to get some early access to these tracks, or showing them off. Is I like showing them off to an extent, but then also I don't want to show every single nook and cranny in detail, because then it basically becomes pointless in you guys trying it out for yourself after that if I've already shown you everything. So I like letting people do their own experimenting, doing their own discovering and seeing what they come up with. If I double in here, can you then or yes, you 100% could go double and then triple, and then I think it's another triple again on the way out as an alternative rhythm. It's going triple, triple, double. You go double, triple, triple instead. And you can also see we've only done 4.5/5 laps around here. I've got the road set to 1 at the moment, and it's already starting to dig down a good amount. We are unfortunately still getting them awful holes that you see, like one right in front of me here, that these OEM tyres create. And I don't know, again, I think I've said it a couple of times now, I don't know if they are going to be changed at any point, or if it is just a case of having to wait for a game update. But it does, I wouldn't say ruins testing to an extent, but there used to be a time where I'd just whack the road up on maybe 1.5 to 2 and just ride around in testing and just basically practice an eroded track. But you can't do that as much anymore, because the road's good for maybe 5 laps or so, and then you're just trying to ride through trenches basically, and they're just craters and holes that form, so not ideal. So to Mr. Perboso, or OEM team, whichever one is more responsible, is there any word on updates on that, please and thank you? So to round this video off, we've gone from, I think, hardest to easiest. We've gone from the motocross down to the Pro Supercross track, now down to the Pro-Am Supercross track, and we'll see just how straightforward this track is. It does have the same unevenness to it as the Pro track did, so you amateurs slash, let's say, Pro-Am riders are not getting away that easy. You still do have a little bit of a challenge in front of you, and let's see what this entails. We've got what looks like a triple there to begin with. That triple in looks pretty damn big though. That might be a bit on the difficult side. A very, very mellow finish line jump, and then I almost think the berms are a little bit more mellow than the Pro track as well. And that might be placebo, but they look a little bit on the shallower side. So again, no getting the bike cranked over at disgusting lean angles, but if you play on a slightly lower road setting, or if you get this in a group of friends into an online server, you'll get ruts forming in these berms that will hold you no problem at all. Got a little double here into a chicane. Just had to check the track map real quick to make sure I was going the right way. Small little double here, hook back round to the left. Did also hear the man over by the gate on the left there whispering in my ear, but we'll leave him alone. It's not that important unless he leaks some sort of important information that we should know about. I know one thing I love, little Easter eggs in tracks on this game. There's a few people in the past that have left like download links for stuff like that. It was, I think, Jackie Moon had a download link before for a whole separate Supercross track that he'd made that he didn't release for quite some time after the track that included the Easter egg in it. And we had like Red Rider had a downloadable mullet that he had hidden in one of his tracks that he released. I enjoy little things like that. I think they're really, really cool. Even on Krakenberg, for example, where Resolute put in those black pillars and some voice notes that leave numbers and things like that for you to try and solve. And it's just, it just gives more life to these tracks and takes things to another level. And it's people with a creativity level far beyond what I could ever do, for example. I mean, it takes every ounce of my creativity to even put out a subpar track, never mind make a track, and then think, what else extra can I add to this to just take it up a whole nother level? And I guess the clue was in the name a little bit, but yes, this Pro-Am track is definitely a lot easier than the Pro track was, but let's be honest, that was always going to be that way. Very straightforward. I guess not the easiest Supercross track ever made, I don't think, just because of the unevenness to it. So, like, for example, I'm very fortunate right now. This suspension I've got on the gas, it's an SPX one, but it makes the whoops super easy, and there's 2 whoop sections on both of these Supercross tracks, and they're all uneven. So if you was on maybe stock, or you wasn't the most confident in whoops or just whoop technique overall, you might struggle a fair bit, but this thing just tracks through no problem whatsoever. But that's probably really the most difficult part of this, is just the whoops. As long as you're not trying to override the track and try and treat these berms like, I mean, like, let's say like DDC berms, for example. Like, DDC berms hold you really, really well. They're huge. You can't lean over that far and get on the throttle that aggressively around here. At least not on a 450. 250 might be a little bit more doable, but the 450 you have to respect it a little bit more. I don't think by the feel of it there you can go double, triple, single. I think you're either committed to the triple, triple, or you're going to be doubling your way through. Let me turn around and try it again. I want to make sure I get this tripling clean. The one thing that does help with these little rough bits on the inside of these corners is it stops people from doing what we've basically done for all of MX bikes, where you basically apex the corner, where you start out wide, cut to the inside, and then drift out wide again. You can hit the big lines into these rhythms from the inside, which makes it just ends up being really, really one-lined when that happens. So it looks like what Ruubs has done is gone out of his way to make the 90-degree berms feel a bit better, and then roughen up the inside. So you either go inside and double, or if you want to triple in, you have to go outside, just to open up the track a little bit more. I think it just makes for better racing when things are like that as well, and there's no like stupidly unrealistic quad lines anybody can hit. And because these berms are so shallow, for example, you probably could very easily try and just carve up the inside of someone and make a block pass, and probably get away with it fairly clean as well, because they can only go so fast around the outside. That is one of the issues with super big berms that hold people really well, is railing the berm is always going to be the fastest way. There's no cutting down at all or anything like that. Whereas when the corner's like this, it's probably just as fast to maybe check up and then cut down early and accelerate out as it is to rail the whole thing. So it just, again, gives you more line options. And I think the scaling of tracks like this, whilst they are a little bit more difficult and they might not have the same fun factor as getting a bike cranked over and dragging handlebars as far as you can, from a racing perspective and a racer's perspective, which is how I tend to look at a lot of tracks in this game, I think it's more beneficial in the long run. So there you have it, gamers. There is not the Georgia practice facility for legal reasons. I think Ruubs has done a stand-up job of this. I had no idea that it was even going to be a thing until we slid into my Discord DMs talking to me about it. So thank you to him, first and foremost, for letting me get my hands on this a day early. And I hope you guys check it out yourselves. I hope you enjoy it and it tickles or scratches a little itch that you might have had for quite some time. And all in all, good stuff. Looks good, like textures on the ground. The environment is really nice. The little extra details with the animations. We got birds tweeting in the background as well to bring some more life to the track. Overall, just a really solid bit of work. Outdoors track, a little bit tough, but really flowy once you find your rhythm. Supercross track, again, can be a little bit difficult at times, but as long as you're patient and hitting your marks, nice and good. And then the Pro-Am track, fairly straightforward and should be a nice introduction to Supercross for some people that are trying to go that way also. So thank you again, Ruubs, for this. Thank you to all of you for watching. It is very much appreciated. I hope you have a lovely rest of the day, and I will see you on Saturday, hopefully, for when this donate-a-thon starts, and hopefully we can make it a good one, fun one, and a long one as well. Have a good rest of your day. See you next time. Peace.